Last week on the podcast, we discussed benevolence and employees and how that is generally always going to be a taxable event to the employee unless the employee has been in a natural disaster that the government has declared, a disaster area, and the benefits that they're helping to cover are not covered by insurance. Well, I had questions this week about what about specific examples for benevolence to not to the employee, but to other family members. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Again, I'm going to give you some IRS code sections that you can look into if you so desire, but that's what we're talking about today, benevolence to employee family members. Let's go. Hello, my friend. Welcome to the Church Finance and Minister Tax Podcast. My name is Michelle Brown, and I'm an enrolled agent, church finance consultant, and your guide to simplifying church finances and minister taxes. Each week, we're going to bust some myths, share helpful tips, and tackle the complexities of the IRS and other government regulations as it relates to your church and its employees. Whether you're a church treasurer, leader, or passionate volunteer, I'm here to help you make a positive impact in your corner of the world. So if you're ready, grab your notebook and pen and your favorite beverage, and let's learn something cool today. Let's go. Hello, and welcome back to the podcast. So, as my introduction said, benevolence given to immediate family members of employees is generally treated as taxable income to the employee. This is because the benefit is considered to be provided in connection with the employee's performance of services. So let's just give you an example, okay? So under IRC, which is the Internal Revenue Code, Section 102C, it specifically states, any amount transferred by or for an employer to or for the benefit of an employee is not excluded from gross income as a gift. What's this mean in plain Jane terms? It means that gifts from an employer to an employee are taxable, okay? And did you notice that they put in there or for the benefit of? So that means that if your son has incurred medical expenses, the church wants to give you money to help cover those benefits, those expenses, even though the money's not for the employee, it's actually to provide services, medical service care for the child, it's still for the benefit of the employee. So there are a couple of things that we're going to touch on here. I'm going to give you some specifics about benevolence to family members, case law that has come down, as well as one of the big questions is, okay, what actually is the definition of an immediate family member? Who's included in that, okay? So, let's just do that one first, okay? So an immediate family member, the definition in Section 9801 F2 of the Internal Revenue Code determines a family member is a dependent, okay, or a relative who is usually what they call like first degree, second degree, third degree, fourth degree relatives, okay? I'm like, what on earth is that? So, of course, you make me dig deeper. So as I dig deeper, a first degree relative is going to be your parents, your children, your brothers and sisters, or your spouse, okay? That's considered a first degree relative. So if anybody, those are definitely immediate family members. So if anybody in that category there receives benevolence, then that is taxable income to you on your W-2 if you're the employee, okay? A second degree relative are your grandparents, your grandchildren, your aunts and uncles, or your nieces and nephews, okay? So you're probably thinking, well, how are them receiving benevolence going to benefit me? Well, chances are that can happen one of two ways. Either number one, these individuals may come to you to reach out to you for financial assistance, or, and even most definitely, if these individuals live with you. Because a lot of people have, well, especially how many people now are supporting their grandchildren, and they've got their grandchildren living with them. Or something has happened to a sibling and you are now taking care of your nieces and nephews. Or you have aging grandparents. There's nobody else to take care of them, so they're living in your home. Okay? Those would definitely be considered immediate family members. The IRS refers to them as second-degree relatives. They also give definitions for third and fourth-degree relatives, but those are very rarely, I would think, like first cousins, great-grandchildren, great-grandparents, great-aunts and uncles, okay? But I think for most general purposes, the first and second-degree relatives are going to be your most likely that this would fall under, okay? So according to the IRS publication 15B, all right, this is what it says. If a benefit is provided to someone other than the employee, such as a member of the employee's family, the employee is considered the recipient of the benefit, and therefore the value of the benefit must be included in the employee's income. There it is, folks. It's there. We don't like it. We don't think it makes sense. But it is what it is. There was a private letter ruling where the IRS actually ruled that personal financial services provided by an employer to the survivors of a deceased employee were includable in the survivor's income. And why is that? Because they were an immediate family member of an employee. Even though the employee had passed on, the services were provided to them, the survivors, as a result of the employment of this employee. I know, it's crazy. It's crazy. And I'm going to tell you, I don't always agree with the IRS, but I'm just here to tell you this is what the IRS says, okay? This is what it says. What you all choose to do with this information once I give it to you, that's on you. But I'm just letting you know, be aware, this is what the IRS says. So there are definitely tax implications for employee benevolence and benevolence giving to immediate family members. Okay, so I'm going to tell you those relationships again. So you've got first-degree relatives are considered your parents, your mom, your dad. And this is even if adoption is in there, okay? All right, so your children, your sons and your daughters, your brothers, your sisters, and your spouse are all first degree. So those are an absolute 100%, those are given. Those are non-negotiables, okay? Second degree relatives can also be included in that, which may be your grandparents, your grandchildren, your aunts and uncles, or your nieces and nephews, okay? So just something to ponder and think about. And you also need to make sure that you have a written benevolence policy in place and that you have an application and approval process for that benevolence. But basically, the law doesn't say you can't give benevolence to employees or to employee family members. It just simply states if you do, it is taxable income to that employee. So you really need to just think about it. Just because something is a taxable benefit doesn't make it a bad benefit. Okay, if you're in a situation and you need $1,000 for benevolence for some reason, and the taxes on that is 10%, you're paying $100 in taxes to receive that $1,000. To me, it's worth that, spending that $100 at the end of tax season to get the benefit of you needed for that $1,000. Okay. So again, we're not saying you can't do it. We're just saying it's a taxable benefit to the employee. Okay. So as always, I hope this was helpful to you. Again, what you do with this information is entirely up to you, but you now have the information. The Internal Revenue Code sections, again, are Section 102C that you can check into, as well as Section 9801F2, which is just lovely. And then Section 152 is going to give you more on dependent, defined, and definitions as well. And then Publication 15B. Okay. I will try to put all these into the show notes. And until next time, y'all just keep these questions coming. That's where a lot of the podcasts come from, is I'll put out an episode and then someone has questions on it and I have to dig further. So that's cool for me, because that helps me to learn more, to in turn help you all to learn more as well. So I hope you all have a super fantastic week. It's getting ready to get cold here where I'm at. It's 70 degrees today. 3 days from now, it's supposed to be a high of 40. So fall is upon us. It won't be long before winter is here. So in the meantime, my friend, let's all strive to make an impact and not just an income. And remember to always look your best, do your best, and be your best. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Thanks again for listening to today's episode. If you learned something new or were inspired in any way, please do me a huge omungo favor and leave me a fantastic 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. It helps more people to find the show. And then share this episode with someone who you think it could help. Until next time, my friend, be blessed.